Previously on Scorned and Served, Marcus built a 14-page HR submission, 9 attachments, 47 matching instances between his original proposal and the document David presented as his own. HR called it inconclusive, then slid a non-disclosure agreement across the table and offered Marcus money to disappear quietly. Marcus said 7 words: "I'll need to consult my legal representative," and walked out without signing a thing. His lawyer, Priya, told him there was not an HR matter anymore. This was a legal one, and that people like David, when they discover the person they wronged is no longer playing by their rules, they make mistakes. Priya told Marcus to watch for 30 days. He had been watching for 9. When David made his first mistake, it did not come the way Marcus expected. He thought it would be something subtle, a cold shoulder in the corridor, a meeting he was quietly removed from, the kind of slow erasure David had already proven he was capable of. Instead, it came at 11:43 on a Wednesday morning, as an email, not sent to Marcus, sent by David to the head of legal, and accidentally copied to Marcus, because David had typed the first 2 letters of the recipient's name, and the autofill had selected Marcus instead. A mistake so basic, so human, so completely avoidable. The kind of error that only happens when someone is typing in a hurry, when someone is rattled. Marcus opened the email, read it once, read it again, then forwarded it immediately to Priya with 1 line beneath it. "I think he knows." The email was 3 paragraphs long. David had not mentioned Marcus by name. He had referred to him only as the analyst. But the content was everything. David had written to the head of legal, asking, urgently, what the company's exposure would be if an employee claimed ownership of intellectual property that had been presented by a senior manager without attribution. He used the phrase hypothetical scenario twice. He asked whether an NDA that had not yet been signed could still be enforced retroactively. He asked what the statute of limitations was on intellectual property disputes in the UK. And then, in the final paragraph, he asked whether it was possible to demonstrate that an idea developed collaboratively could be attributed entirely to one individual if that individual held a senior position and the original contributor had no formal documentation. No formal documentation. That was the line that told Marcus everything. David had not seen the emails. He did not know about the timestamps. He did not know about the 47 matching instances. He did not know about Priya. He was operating on the assumption that Marcus had nothing, and he was asking legal how to make sure it stayed that way. The problem, for David, was that Marcus had everything. Priya called Marcus that same afternoon. He had barely sat down when she said, "This email changes the shape of this case significantly." He asked her how. She said, "Because David just put in writing that he is aware a claim could be made, that he is aware the attribution is disputed, and that he is actively seeking legal advice on how to defend against it. That is not the behavior of someone who believes they did nothing wrong. That is the behavior of someone trying to construct a defense before they are formally accused." Marcus asked what that meant for his position. Priya said, "It means we move, not tomorrow, this week." 2 days later, a formal letter of claim was sent from Priya's firm to the company's head of legal. 14 pages. The same number as Marcus's original HR submission. He had not planned that. But when Priya told him the page count, Something that was almost a smile crossed his face. The letter set out the full claim: intellectual property misappropriation, procedural breach in the HR investigation, potential whistleblower retaliation, the demotion to supporting analyst following Marcus's formal HR complaint, and a preliminary compensation figure, not a range this time, a specific number: £220,000. The company's legal team responded in 4 days, which Priya said was fast. Fast means worried, she told Marcus. A company that believes it has a strong defense takes its time. A company that is looking at its exposure and does not like what it sees moves quickly. The response did not concede anything. Of course it didn't. But it requested a preliminary without prejudice discussion between legal representatives. Without prejudice, that phrase, it means, let's talk, off the record, without anything said being used against either party. It means, we want to find out how serious you are before this goes any further. It means, we are not ready to fight yet. Marcus was not told about the without prejudice meeting until it was already over. Priya called him afterward. She said, "They sent someone senior, not a junior associate, not an external firm. The company's director of legal affairs came personally." Marcus asked what was said. Priya told him. The company had proposed a settlement, not the original goodwill payment from Carol's manila folder, something considerably larger. She told him the figure. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "What did you say?" She said, "I said we'd consider it, and then I asked them one question." Marcus asked what the question was. She said, "I asked whether David Hargreaves was aware that a settlement was being discussed." The legal director had paused before answering. And in that pause, Priya said she had her answer. David did not know. The company was attempting to resolve this without David's knowledge, which told Priya, and now Marcus, 2 things simultaneously. First, the company's legal team had reviewed the evidence and concluded that the claim had significant merit, significant enough that they did not want to take this to a formal tribunal. Second, the company was not protecting David. They were protecting themselves from David. Marcus sat with that for a long time after the call. He had spent months in this company watching David operate with complete impunity. Invited into rooms Marcus was excluded from. Celebrated for work Marcus had done. Protected by a system that was supposed to investigate fairly, and chose instead to hand David a 6-day head start. And now that same system, that same company, was cutting David out of the conversation the moment the legal exposure became real. David had spent 3 years building alliances, cultivating relationships, becoming indispensable. And the moment a letter of claim with a 6-figure number landed on the head of legal's desk, every single one of those relationships had quietly recalculated their position. That is the thing about institutional loyalty. It is not loyalty at all. It is risk management. And Marcus, for the first time in this entire story, was the lower risk option. Here is where it gets complicated, because Marcus had to make a decision, and it was not the obvious one. Priya laid out his options clearly. Option 1, accept the settlement, take the money, sign the updated NDA, this one considerably more generous, and walk away. The number on the table would clear his mortgage, give him 12 months of runway to start something of his own, and close this chapter. Option 2, reject the settlement. Escalate to a formal employment tribunal, make the case public record, subpoena David's communications, take the full weight of the evidence, the timestamps, the 47 matches, the accidental email, the procedural breach, into an open hearing, where the outcome could be higher, or could be nothing, because tribunals are not guaranteed. And companies have lawyers who have done this far longer than Priya. Priya told Marcus, "I think we win, but I cannot promise you we win. What I can promise you is that if we go to tribunal, David Hargreaves will have to sit in that room. He will have to answer questions under oath about every decision he made, every email he sent, every document he altered, in front of a panel, on public record. Whether we win or lose, that happens." Marcus asked her for 48 hours. She said, of course. He did not sleep that night, not because he was uncertain. He knew what he was going to do within the first hour of the call ending. He didn't sleep because he was thinking about David, not with anger, not with satisfaction, with something closer to clarity. He thought about the Tuesday morning when he walked past the boardroom and saw his work on that screen with someone else standing in front of it. He thought about the company-wide email, "I am proud to lead." He thought about Carol sliding the NDA across the table and watching him with that professionally neutral expression that was really just a very polished version of, "Please make this easy for us." He thought about what Priya had said in their very first meeting. This isn't just about credit, this is about compensation. And he thought, she was right, but she was also wrong. Because for Marcus, it had never been about the money, and it wasn't about the credit either. Not anymore. It was about the room. It was about David sitting in a room, being asked questions he could not autofill his way out of, answering for the 47 instances, explaining the accidental email, accounting for the 6 days, under oath, on record, where it could never be called inconclusive again. The next morning, Marcus called Priya at 8 a.m. She picked up on the second ring. He said, "We go to tribunal." A beat of silence. Then Priya said, "Good, I was hoping you'd say that." In part 4, the tribunal date is set. David finds out, and what David does next is the most revealing thing he does in this entire story. Not because it is clever, because it is desperate. He contacts Marcus directly, outside of any legal channel, outside of any company process, a personal message, at 11 p.m. on a Sunday night, and what he writes tells you everything you need to know about what kind of man David Hargreaves actually is. Part 4 drops tomorrow. And before you go, I need to ask you something. If you were Marcus, at that moment when Priya gave you the 2 options, would you take the money or would you take the room? Drop it in the comments. No right answer, just honest ones. Because the comments on the last 2 episodes, the things you have been sharing about what has been taken from you, I have read every single one. And I think you already know which option Marcus chose, long before I told you.